Hey there, I'm Rose Hedberg, your writing coach and the founder of Ideas Right Now. In today's video, we're talking all about how you can confidently make narrative suggestions to a client that is both professional and easy. Let's jump in. When you're contracted to write a proposal, you're usually including several rounds of drafts. In an ideal world, your client reads your first or second draft. They give you wonderful and marvelous feedback that is both constructive and supports the overall proposal. But sometimes, however, you might have a client that is clinging to old verbiage or trying to interject some suggestions that don't support the overall proposal. Or worse, they're trying to add more words and descriptions to a proposal that is restricted by a number of characters. Now, it may feel odd to stand your ground about a sentence or deleting something, but I promise if you're feeling hesitant as the writer about the words on the page, then the reader, the funder, will also feel that hesitation. And it's your job to explain to the client how plain language and declarative sentences are absolute magic in a proposal. It's also your job to take all that information that they give you and to put it in the correct place in the proposal. I find sometimes that when I'm rejecting comments from a client, it's because they haven't read the full proposal and they are wanting to include information in part A that actually goes in part D or E. They just haven't gotten there yet. Now, if you find yourself in a sticky situation and your client is pushing back or they're making suggestions that you know are not going to support the overall proposal, what can you do? Well, first, you can be confident with yourself and your professional background. Next, you're going to be consistent with your edits. Then you're going to articulate the editorial problem. You're always going to be ready with an editorial solution. And lastly, you're going to be okay with letting it go if you have to. Let's break each of these steps down. Be confident. Yes, you're a professional. You know what you're doing. You've had time to work with this document. And if something feels off to you as the writer, it's going to feel off to the funder. Sometimes the client is too close to the work, too close to the idea that they may not see the gaps or they can't see the strategic methodology of how you're explaining the whole project. Be confident in yourself. Stand behind what your comments are. Next, you're going to be consistent. If you apply one logic to a sentence in part A, then you should apply the same logic to a sentence in part Z. By being consistent, kind of introducing a format, it's going to show not only your professionalism, but it's going to help the funder to read and flow through your proposal. Next, you'll want to be articulate. If a client is suggesting something, maybe they want to add in more descriptions, maybe they've changed the language that doesn't feel right, it's not acceptable or professional to just say, I don't like that. You have to back it up. You have to articulate as a whole why something isn't working, and that takes a moment to look at the bigger picture. Here are a few reasons why something within the context of writing may not be working, and a way you can articulate to the client why something should either be changed or an edit would not be accepted. It might be the case that the rhythm of the paragraph is too wordy if you read it out loud, and therefore you're losing the focus of that paragraph. It might be the case that word choice is too elevated or perhaps unnecessary, those adverbs and adjectives. Another reason might be that the phrasing or terminology is either out of date or potentially offensive. It might be the case that you have narrative that introduces facts and then leaves them be, like floating facts. It's the case that you would want to follow up those facts with further support. Why did you introduce those facts? Or lastly, it might just be that the message is unclear. Whatever they're suggesting is confuddling the true nature of that sentence. These reasons and more might be the reason why you are rejecting an edit or suggesting a different edit to your client. To the best of your ability, if you're going to articulate that editorial problem, then introduce an idea on how to fix it. This is going to save you and the client time, and you won't have to go back and forth as much. For example, if that rhythm you said in the paragraph was too wordy and conjunctive, then jump in there. Offer an idea on how they can break up those complex sentences into declarative sentences. If the issue is that there is too much elevated language, then jump in and tell them exactly where they can cut out words, those adjectives and adverbs that are unnecessary and don't hold up our sentences. If that phrasing or terminology is potentially offensive or off-putting, you definitely want to jump in there and offer what is more culturally accepted and less offensive. If that narrative is incomplete, like I said, those floating facts, then be confident in offering an extended sentence that supports why is that fact even there. Reiterate how it supports your point or their point. If the message is unclear, then make sure that you are able to articulate how they can clarify the message or what language they can use to make it stronger. So be ready with that solution. Lastly, I throw this in there. I want you to be open to letting it go. At the end of the day, you can give as much professional advice as you like, but some clients just want total control. I've experienced this before. So ask yourself, is this piece of the narrative going to make or break the whole proposal? Is it going to be the difference between the applicant receiving the funding and not? Most likely the answer is no, unless it's a huge gap in the problem or it's potentially offensive terminology. If it's the case that it's not going to break the proposal as a whole, I want you to take a deep breath, know you did your best, pat yourself on the back, and let the client have it. Let it go and move on. Overall, when I am professional and confident in my background, when I'm consistent with my edits, when I can articulate the problem but also offer solutions, and lastly, when I have the ability to let it go, my clients are willing to hear me out and accept the professional advice I have on narrative suggestions. What about you? We want to hear from you. Have you ever had a client that didn't want to take your professional advice? What sort of pushback have you had for suggesting narrative edits? Drop us a comment below. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more grant writing videos and click that notifications button so you never miss a video in the future. Thanks for watching and happy writing.